March 1911. A sleek steamship glides across the warm waters off Queensland, Australia. On board, passengers laugh, relax, and look forward to reaching Townsville. But within hours, everything changes. Without warning, the sea grows restless, winds roar, waves tower, and then silence. The SS Yongala vanishes without a single trace. No distress call, no lifeboats, just 122 souls, gone. For over 4 decades, families were left with nothing but questions. No wreck, no answers, just whispers of a ship swallowed whole by a cyclone. What really happened that night? Why was there no warning? And how did one of Australia's most advanced ships disappear off the face of the earth? Stay with us as we dive into the tragic voyage of the SS Yongala and uncover what the waves tried to hide. To understand this tragedy, we need to go back, not just to the day of the disaster, but to the machine at the center of it all. The SS Yongala, it was a symbol of power, progress, and pride. It was built in 1903 in England at a shipyard in Newcastle upon Tyne by a company called Sir W.G. Armstrong. Whitworth & Co. Yongala was one of 2 sister ships built for the Adelaide Steamship Company. The other ship was called Grantala. Both ships were made to carry passengers and cargo along the Australian coast. The ship was launched on April 29, 1903, and finished by October of that year. It was named after the town of Yongala in South Australia. The name Yongala comes from the local Aboriginal language of the Ngajari people. It means broad water or wide watering place. The SS Yongala was a large and powerful ship for its time. It was 350 feet long, that's about the size of a football field, 45 feet wide, and over 27 feet deep. It weighed around 3,664 tons. The ship was built to carry both people and goods, and it could hold up to 3,000 tons of cargo. It had a strong steam engine called a triple expansion engine, built by the Walls and Slipway Company. The ship had 5 boilers, which created steam to power the engine. The engine turned a single propeller and helped the ship move at a speed of 16 knots, or about 30 kilometers per hour. Each day, the ship burned about 67 tons of coal to keep going. Yongala was designed to carry 110 first-class passengers and 130 second-class passengers. Inside, it had electric lights, something not all ships had in those days. It was made to be comfortable and modern, offering a smooth and reliable trip up and down the coast. The ship also had space to store frozen meat and fresh vegetables in cold rooms. This was important for long journeys in hot weather. There were steam cranes, winches, and derricks to help load and unload cargo. It also had special steering equipment that made it easier for the crew to control the ship. The SS Yongala was officially registered in Port Adelaide. It had the UK official number 18332, and its signal code was VGFH. The SS Yongala left England on October 9, 1903, and after a rough journey across the Bay of Biscay, she arrived in Fremantle, Australia on November 24th. On her way to Adelaide, rumors spread that she raced and beat the RMS Orizaba, though the company denied it. She reached Port Adelaide on November 30th, then continued on to Melbourne and Sydney by early December. From 1905 to 1911, Yongala operated on one of Australia's longest coastal routes, sailing between Fremantle and Sydney, and later Brisbane. In winter, she shifted to the Melbourne-Cairns route. Known for her speed and reliability, she became a trusted ship along the eastern coast until her final fateful journey. March 14, 1911, the SS Yongala began what would be her 99th voyage in Australian waters. At the helm was Captain William Knight, a seasoned mariner trusted by the Adelaide Steamship Company. The ship set sail from Melbourne, carrying 72 passengers, many heading north along Australia's eastern coast. By March 20th, Yongala arrived in Brisbane, where most of her Melbourne passengers disembarked. New travelers came aboard, along with some unusual cargo, including a racehorse named Moonshine and a prized Lincoln Red Bull. A final inspection at the harbor declared the ship to be in excellent trim. All seemed well. 3 days later, on the morning of March 23rd, Yongala reached Mackay. That afternoon, at 1:40 p.m., she departed for her next stop, Townsville. On board now were 29 first-class passengers, 19 second-class passengers, 72 crew members, and over 670 tons of cargo. But as she sailed out of Mackay's harbor, trouble was brewing on the horizon. Unknown to those aboard, a cyclone warning had just been issued. The Flattop Island signal station tried to warn passing ships using flags and wireless signals. Several vessels turned back, but Yongala never saw the warning. She had no wireless receiver, even though one had recently been ordered for her. The Marconi set was still weeks away from arriving in Australia. Just before nightfall, a lighthouse keeper on Dent Island saw Yongala entering Whitsunday Passage. That would be the last time anyone saw her. Sometime during the night of March 23rd to 24th, the storm struck, and Yongala vanished without sending a single distress call. Everyone on board was lost. As the hours passed and SS Yongala failed to arrive in Townsville, concern began to grow. At first, many believed the ship had simply taken shelter from the storm, just like others had during the cyclone. But by March 26, 1911, the truth could no longer be ignored. Yongala was officially listed as missing. The Premier of Queensland, Digby Denham, ordered an urgent search. 7 vessels were sent out along the coastline to find any sign of the lost steamer. What they found was heartbreaking. Pieces of wreckage began washing up between Hinchinbrook Island and Bowen. The body of the racehorse Moonshine, once proudly boarded in Brisbane, was found at Gordon Creek. But of the 122 people aboard, not a single body was ever recovered. Hoping for answers, the Queensland government offered a £1,000 reward for any information that could lead to finding the wreck. But no one came forward. Eventually, the reward was withdrawn, and the silence grew deeper. Theories spread. Some said the cyclone must have overwhelmed her. Others guessed she had struck a hidden reef or rock, lost in the fury of the storm. But none of it could be proven. In the following weeks, a Yongala Distress Fund was created to support the families left behind, mothers, wives, children, now grieving without answers. By the time the fund was closed in 1914, nearly £900 remained, which was later handed over to the Queensland Shipwreck Society. Between June 8th and 20th, the Marine Board of Queensland held an official inquiry. They reviewed everything: the ship's structure, her records, and the actions of Captain William Knight. The results were clear. Yongala was in good condition. Captain Knight was an experienced and capable master. Nothing pointed to human error or failure. In the end, the board could only say this: the fate of the Yongala passes beyond human ken into the realms of conjecture, to add one more to the long roll of mysteries of the sea. And so, for decades, Yongala remained one of Australia's greatest maritime mysteries. For over 4 decades, SS Yongala lay silently beneath the waves. Her story paused, her secrets buried by the sea. Then, in 1943, something strange happened. A Royal Australian Navy minesweeper, patrolling off the coast of Cape Bowling Green, snagged its gear on an underwater obstruction. At first, it was assumed to be a shoal, and the commander marked it on the map as just that, an unremarkable hazard lying 11 miles east of the Cape along the busy shipping route to Townsville. But questions remained. 4 years later, in June 1947, the Royal Australian Navy returned. The survey ship HMAS Lachlan was sent to investigate. Using early echo sounding and anti-submarine detection equipment, they scanned the ocean floor. What they found stunned them: a large object about 300 feet long, resting at a depth of just 6 fathoms. That's roughly 11 meters. Surrounding it, deep water ranging between 22 and 26 meters. This wasn't just a shoal, it looked very much like the wreck of a steamship. Still, it would take more than sonar to uncover the truth. In 1958, a breakthrough came, not from the Navy, but from a local fisherman, Bill Kirkpatrick. Curious about the mysterious underwater sight, He began diving the location, and what he discovered would change everything. He found the wreck, intact, haunting, and full of artifacts. Among the items Bill recovered was a safe, rusted shut, filled with nothing but black sludge. But on the safe's surface, one detail remained: a serial number, partially legible, 9825W. It was a clue. In 1961, the safe was traced back to Chubb, the famous British manufacturer. Records confirmed it. This exact safe had been supplied in 1903 to Armstrong, Whitworth and Company, the shipbuilders of SS Yongala. It had been installed in the cabin of the purser. There was no doubt anymore. After nearly 50 years, the ghost ship had finally been found. The Yongala's resting place had been identified, silent, still, but never forgotten. Today, the wreck lies at the heart of the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park, about 48 nautical miles southeast of Townsville and 12 nautical miles east of Cape Bowling Green. But make no mistake, this is more than a shipwreck. This is a sacred site, a marine sanctuary, and a living museum all at once. Measuring 109 meters in length, the Yongala sits at a steep angle, listing to starboard at 60 to 70 degrees. Her bow points almost directly north, a bearing of 347 degrees. Though battered by time and tides, her structure remains largely intact. The ship rises from the sandy seafloor, which lies at a depth of about 30 meters, with the upper sections of the wreck just 16 meters below the surface. Surrounded by open, sandy seabed, the Yongala has become an artificial reef, a towering structure of steel that now teems with life. Schools of vibrant fish swirl around its decaying railings, sea turtles drift through its broken corridors, and giant humphead wrasses, some as long as a human, patrol its shadowy hull. But this underwater haven is also a memorial, a mass grave for the 122 souls who vanished with her in 1911. Out of deep respect, the site is heavily protected. In 2002, special moorings were installed to prevent damage from careless anchoring. Divers are not allowed to enter the ship, and removing artifacts is strictly forbidden under the Commonwealth Underwater Cultural Heritage Act of 2018. The area within a 797-meter radius is designated a protected area zone and can only be visited with a permit from the Maritime Archaeology section of the Museum of Tropical Queensland. The SS Yongala's story is more than history. It's a conversation between the past and the present. What do you think happened to the Yongala that night in 1911? Do you believe wreck sites like this should be left untouched or explored and shared with the world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective.